In case you're wondering about the background of what's going on in the other side of the planet, the other side from United States, place known as sounds like Rizreal, versus sounds like Paristrine. Um, this is my third time trying to post something, so I just want to just share a little bit of background knowledge in case somebody out there is not educated about what is going on and why there's always been some fighting going on out in over yonder. So I get the sentiment about people saying, get rid of this newfound state of Israel. Let the people of Paris drain, have their homeland back, whatever. I get that, but it's also a lot of ignorance there. So I just want to explain from a Christian's perspective what's going on, okay? So rewind about 2,000 years. Um, Palestrina was named not by its own people, but by Rome. And it was not the name of a state, it was the name of a region filled with people who were antagonistic towards, let's see, sounds like dudes. the, the Gentiles and the dudes versus the dudes, right? Okay. The dudes. Uh, or the ooze. Anyway, sounds like. So I'm trying not to get censored here. So, uh, basically, they were under a heavy oppression back then. Romans were oppressing the dudes, the ooze. Okay, and so they were coinciding with other people in that area who were also oppressing the dudes or the ooze. So why was that? Okay, so rewind another 2,000 years. So now we've rewound almost 4,000 years, guys. This is 1900 ish BC. Okay, you had a man named Abraham. Abraham had two sons. One son, his name was Ishmael. Ishmael was born he was born out of impatience and faithlessness because God had promised Abraham that he would have a son, that God was going to give him a son. And then that son, and Abraham had a wife, his wife's name was Sarah. But anyway, God was telling Abraham, you're going to have a son. That son will be the father of many, 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 many people, many generations, and many nations. Okay, they got impatient. Sarah was getting old, and so she was like, "We gotta make this happen. We gotta make it happen." So she took her slave girl and had her slave girl uh, meet up with Abraham, and so Ishmael came from that out of faithlessness. And then God said, "I told you I was going to give you a son, and it's going to be from your own wife, dude." So his own wife, his old aged wife, ended up having her own son, and that was Isaac. So Abraham was obviously corrected and concerned about Ishmael and this promise because you've got Isaac who's now being given the promise of many descendants. But what about Ishmael? He's his actual son too. So God heard his cry and and as Ishmael and his mother, slave mom, were basically cast out, they were cast out, sadly. God gave Abraham and Ishmael a promise and a curse. And the curse comes from Abraham's own faithlessness. But the promise was Ishmael, too, also would be the father of many, many, many people in many nations. The curse was that Ishmael's descendants would be perpetually antagonistic towards Isaac's descendants. So Isaac's descendants became the dudes people, the dudist people, the Jewish people. I'm trying to do sounds like, okay? It sounds like my name. My name is John. Starts with, okay? These people have been oppressed for 4,000 years. They have strived and struggled to maintain their home that was the promised land of Bizrael. Sounds like, and they finally lost it after thousands of years. They finally lost it completely shortly after the resurrection of Jesus Christ. And then they finally got it back again after almost 2,000 years at the end of World War II. That's the history, guys. There is a line of descendants of Ishmael. I'll also say this: they picked up a religion along the way. Shortly after Christ, they picked up a new religion along the way. And that happened. And I'm trying to be as vague and as concise and clear as I can be at the same time. This is the history. It's always been this way. It will always be this way until the king of the dudes, the king of the ooze, will comes back in the flesh, and we get permanent correction. Until that day, there will always be chaos. There are people who have made it their entire culture, their life's meaning and purpose to always be a thorn in the side of the dudes, of the ooze. All of these people on both sides were made in God's image. They all need prayer. Many of these people on that other side, on the side of the instigators, many of those people are getting visions in the middle of the night, dreams from Jesus Christ himself, being woken up, and they're turning to Jesus. So keep praying. Pray for both sides. They are all dearly loved by Jesus. They're precious creatures, every last one of them, both sides. They're all dearly loved. All of them need Jesus. But that's the background, guys. I hope you understood what I was saying. God bless you guys.